Peppa Pig. I love you, Daddy Pig.
What are we doing today, Daddy?
asked Peppa one morning. Today, said Daddy Pig, we're going on a surprise adventure. Ooh, gasped Peppa and George, bouncing up and down in their seats. When Daddy Pig had everything ready, he called Peppa and George. Are you ready for your dadventure? He asked.
Yes, Daddy,
they cried, giggling. First stop, the supermarket, said Daddy Pig.
That doesn't sound very adventure-y,
said Peppa. You'll see, Daddy Pig replied. Daddy Pig zoomed around the supermarket with the trolley. This is how you shop in style, he cried, dancing and juggling with the food, then rolling the tins down his arms and into the trolley. Peppa and George clapped their hands.
Go, Daddy!
Peppa, George and Daddy Pig filled the trolley to the very top. Plunk, plop, crash. I think that's everything, said Daddy Pig.
I think that's everything in the shop,
said Miss Rabbit.
Daddy,
said Peppa as they put their food in the car.
I love shopping in style.
Me too, agreed Daddy Pig. Next stop, lunch with Granny and Grandpa Pig, announced Daddy Pig.
Lunch isn't an adventure, Daddy,
said Peppa.
We have lunch every day.
Yes, but do you have it on a pirate ship? asked Daddy Pig.
No,
said Peppa. Arr! cried George in his best pirate voice. Everybody hopped on board the ship for a special pirate picnic made by Daddy Pig. Goodness, said Grandpa Pig. This delicious food is worthy of the captain's table.
Daddy,
said Peppa,
I love pirate picnics.
Me too, said Daddy Pig, munching away.
Where are you off to next, my little pirates?
asked Granny Pig. I need to do a spot of work, said Daddy Pig.
Oh,
sighed Peppa.
Work's boring, Daddy.
Not my work, Peppa, said Daddy Pig. My work is an adventure. He pointed over to Miss Rabbit, who was waiting for them in her helicopter.
Ready to fly to work, Daddy Pig?
asked Miss Rabbit. We are indeed, said Daddy Pig.
Wow,
gasped Peppa and George, buckling up. They waved goodbye to Granny and Grandpa Pig, and then Miss Rabbit zoomed them across the sky.
Daddy,
called Peppa over the noise of the helicopter.
I love going to work.
Me too, called Daddy Pig. Miss Rabbit landed the helicopter at the playground. First, all the holes need filling with concrete, said Daddy Pig. Peppa and George sat in the driver's seat of a big, loud truck and poured concrete all over the playground.
Daddy,
shouted Peppa,
I love pouring concrete.
Me too, Daddy Pig shouted back. And now it is time to test all the play equipment to make sure it works, said Daddy Pig.
Hooray!
cheered Peppa, running to the seesaw.
Whee!
cried George, zipping down the slide and flying over the wet concrete.
Where to next, Daddy Pig?
asked Miss Rabbit. The fair, please, said Daddy Pig.
Righty-o,
said Miss Rabbit. At the fair, Peppa, George and Daddy Pig filled all the holes with concrete. Then they tested all the rides. twice.
Daddy,
Said Peppa.
I love the fair.
Me too, agreed Daddy Pig. We have one last job, said Daddy Pig. We must sign our work. Peppa, George and Daddy Pig gently pressed their hands into the wet concrete. Now everyone will know who poured this amazing concrete. Miss Rabbit flew everyone back to the car.
Daddy,
Shouted Peppa.
I love your job.
Me too, agreed Daddy Pig. When they got home, Mammy Pig asked Daddy Pig how their day was. Oh, just a normal day, really, said Daddy Pig. We did a little shopping, had some lunch with Granny and Grandpa Pig, and then I had to do a spot of work. He winked at Peppa and George. Peppa and George winked back at him. After their baths, Daddy Pig tucked Peppa and George into bed.
Daddy,
Said Peppa.
I love...
Peppa stopped to yawn. Yes, Peppa, said Daddy Pig.
I love you, Daddy.
Said Peppa. I love you too, said Daddy Pig. I love both my little adventurers. After such a busy day, the two little adventurers soon fell fast asleep.
Daddy Pig,
Said Mammy Pig when he came back downstairs.
what are these?
She held up the pirate costumes, hard hats, and photos from the rides at the fair.
I thought you spent the day shopping, having lunch with Granny and Grandpa Pig, and doing some work.
Well, said Daddy Pig, and then he told Mammy all about his day. Mammy Pig was very impressed. I love you, Daddy Pig, she said. You make every day an adventure. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's new neighbours. Daddy Pig is working hard. He is building a new house. The new house looks very small.
Is it a house for elves and fairies?
Asked Peppa. No, chuckles Daddy Pig. This is just a model. Daddy Pig shows Peppa and George a drawing of what the real house will look like.
Something is missing,
Says Peppa. She draws a swing to go outside the house. Perfect, decides Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig takes Peppa and George to see the new house. Here we are, he snorts.
But Daddy,
Says Peppa.
there's nothing here.
That's because the building work hasn't started yet, replies Daddy Pig. Mr. Bull is going to build the new house for Daddy Pig. Can you build it exactly like this, please? Says Daddy Pig.
But bigger.
Adds Peppa. Mr. Bull shouts to his friend. Mr. Pig wants a house. Is it going to be built of straw? Asked Mr. Rhino. Or sticks? Asked Mr. Labrador. Or bricks? Asked Mr. Bull. Daddy Pig wants the new house to be made out of brick. Mr. Bull gets straight to work.
Can we help?
Wonders Peppa. You can lay the first brick, smiles Mr. Bull. Mr. Bull tells George to put a blob of mortar on the ground. Mortar is a special kind of mud that sticks bricks together. Each brick must be laid straight and level. It will take ages.
Will you finish it today?
Asked Peppa. You can't build a house in a day, snorts Mr. Bull. It will be finished tomorrow. The next morning, Peppa and George go straight over to see the new house.
It's finished,
Snorts Peppa. It's almost finished, says Daddy Pig. It just needs to be inspected. Mr. Rabbit is the building inspector. He looks carefully at the new house. Very good, he decides. But you forgot the swing. Oh, no, we didn't, shouts Mr. Bull. The house is all ready for the new neighbours to move in. Mr. Wolf and his family arrive. Mr. Wolf tries huffing and puffing, but the house does not fall down. It is very strong. What is the new house made of? asks Mr. Wolf. Bricks, replies Daddy Pig, so don't even think about it. Wendy Wolf likes the new swing. Can you push me? asks Peppa.
No,
Grins Wendy.
I'll huff and puff you instead.
The end. Peppa Pig Bicycle Race. It is a lovely sunny day. Peppa and George are going out for a ride. Peppa rings her bell. Ding ding. Come on, George, she says. Follow me. Peppa is riding her bicycle. George is riding his tricycle. Hurry up, George, calls Peppa. You're going so slowly, says George. Peppa sees her friends, Danny Dog, Susie Sheep, and Rebecca Rabbit. They are riding their bicycles too. Danny points down the hill. Let's have a race to the bottom, he says. Danny, Susie and Rebecca ride very fast. Peppa rides quite fast. George does not ride very fast at all. George is riding a baby bike, snorts Peppa. So are you, says Danny. You've still got stabilizers. Peppa looks down at her bike. It is the only one with stabilizers on it. Let's ride up the hill again, says Danny. No, says Peppa. I think I'll stay here. Peppa asks Daddy Pig to take her stabilizers off. Do you think you can ride without them? He says. I can do it, Peppa nods. I can. She gets on her bicycle and starts pedalling. Uh-oh, Peppa falls onto the grass. Riding without stabilizers is hard. George giggles. It is not funny. Peppa frowns. Daddy Pig helps Peppa to get back on her bicycle. Let's try again, he says. Ready, steady, go. Don't let go of me, Daddy, says Peppa. Don't worry, says Daddy Pig. I've got you. Peppa pedals faster and faster. You're doing really well, shouts Daddy Pig. Peppa looks round. Daddy Pig has let go. Ho ho, he cries. You're cycling on your own. Peppa can ride on her own without stabilizers.
Wow!
She goes to find her friends. Look at me, shouts Peppa. I can ride my bike properly. Danny, Susie and Rebecca all cheer. Hooray! Come on, says Peppa. Let's race down the hill again. Danny, Susie and Rebecca ring their bells. Peppa loves riding her bicycle. Everyone loves riding bicycles. The end. Peppa Pig, A Trip to the Moon. It is a lovely sunny day, and George and his friend Edmund are playing with their space toys in the garden. Oh dear, Edmund's space toy has landed on Peppa's head. She is not happy. Are you going to the moon, boys? Says Daddy Pig.
No,
Says George.
it's just boring space stuff for babies, Daddy,
Says Peppa.
It's not real.
Space is real, Peppa, replies Daddy Pig. Mummy Pig tells everyone there is a show at the museum that is all about the moon.
Wow.
That sounds fun. Shall we go and see it? Asked Daddy Pig.
Hooray!
George and Edmund laugh. They want to see the show. At the museum, they all buy tickets.
Are we really going to the moon?
Peppa asks.
No, Peppa, it's just pretend.
Miss Rabbit tells her. Mr. Rabbit is a tour guide. This way for our trip to the moon, he calls, leading them inside. Prepare for takeoff. When they are all seated in the rocket, a voice booms, Blast off! We live on a planet. Does anyone know what it's called? Mr. Rabbit asks. Earth, Daddy Pig guesses. That's right, Mr. Rabbit smiles. And what is the moon made of? Mr. Rabbit wants to know next. The moon is made of cheese, of course, Daddy Pig jokes. But Mr. Rabbit doesn't find it very funny. No, the moon is made of rock. This is a serious tour, so no jokes, please.
It is pretend, though, isn't it?
Peppa asks. Yes, Peppa, if it was the real moon, you could jump over my head, Mr. Rabbit tells her. Gravity is what keeps us on the ground, and it is weaker on the moon, so you can jump higher.
Wow.
Some big rubber bands drop down and Mr. Rabbit straps everyone in. Peppa and the others feel like they are jumping on the moon. It is so much fun. Miss Rabbit tells them to say, Moon cheese, as she takes a picture. It is the end of the tour, so Miss Rabbit takes everyone to the moon shop.
How about some real moon cheese?
Says Miss Rabbit. How much is it? Asks Daddy Pig.
£5, please,
says Miss Rabbit. £5? Snorts Daddy Pig.
It's all for a good cause,
says Miss Rabbit.
I like the moon now because it is very interesting,
says Peppa, holding a picture of everybody bouncing on the moon. And very tasty, laughs Daddy Pig, eating his yummy moon cheese. The end. Peppa Pig and a busy day at school. It's Special Talent Day at school, and Peppa is very excited. She has many different talents, so she hasn't decided which one to share.
Wow.
Maybe I will jump rope, says Peppa, or sing or dance.
Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig, Peppa and George eat a good pancake breakfast. They get in the car and go to school. Peppa's friends have already arrived. Pedro Pony, Candy Cat and Rebecca Rabbit are there.
Hooray!
Good morning, says Madame Gazelle. Are you ready for Special Talent Day? We'll share our talents this afternoon, but first we have a very busy day. The class practices counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, begins Madame Gazelle. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, shouts the class. Then Madame Gazelle asks the class to name things that begin with each letter of the alphabet. A. Apple. B. Balloon. C. Cake. D. Dinosaur. E. Eggs. F. Fish. G. Guitar. H. Hat. I for ice cream. J for jam. K for kite. L for ladder. M for monkey. N for newspaper. O for owl. P for pizza. Q for queen. R for rocket. S for scooter. T for truck. U for umbrella. V for violin. W for watermelon. X for xylophone. Y for yarn. And Z for Zoe Zebra. Then it's time to play store. Peppa and Susie are the shopkeepers. What would you like? Asked Peppa. Do you have any cookies? Asked Danny Dog. No, says Peppa. But we do have a toy telephone that will be $1. Thank you, says Danny Dog. Do you have a loaf of bread? Asked Pedro Pony. No, says Peppa, but we do have a dollhouse. Well, okay, says Pedro Pony. What can I buy for $100? Asked Rebecca Rabbit. How about a carrot? Says Peppa. Everyone laughs. Next, it's time to paint. Peppa wants to teach George how to paint a flower. Wow. Make a circle, says Peppa. George paints a green circle. Then he paints a green zigzag line. That's not right, George, says Peppa. George keeps painting. Madame Gazelle looks at Peppa's painting. What a lovely flower, she says. And George has painted a dinosaur. Perfect. At lunchtime, Peppa and George eat sandwiches with Danny Dog. There's watermelon for dessert. There's a new tire swing and Peppa wants to try it out. She squeezes in. Help! She cries, I'm stuck! Oh no! Peppa looks funny in the swing, but Peppa doesn't think being stuck is funny. Her friends try to help. They pull and pull and pull. Out comes Peppa.
Hooray!
Let's play on the slide, she says. It's time for music, 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 sings Madame Gazelle.
Hooray!
Everyone choose an instrument. Danny chooses the bongo drums. Look, I've got cymbals, says Rebecca. Zoe gets maracas. Freddie chooses a triangle. And Pedro has a tambourine. Everyone plays together. Boom, bang, crash. Oh my, cries Madame Gazelle. That sounds a bit more like noise than music. Let's go one at a time. Then each of you can join in. Ding, 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 goes the triangle. Boom, 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 goes Peppa's bass drum. Bang, bang, bang go the bongo drums. Crash, crash, crash go the cymbals. Shaka, 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 shaka go the maracas. Lovely, says Madame Gazelle. Finally, it is time for special talent. Everyone takes a turn. Danny Dog's special talent is drumming. Bang, bang, bang. Pedro Pony does a magic trick. Everyone closes their eyes and he makes a glass of water disappear. Zoe Zebra sings. Candy Cat jumps rope. Oh no, thinks Peppa. Now I can't do either of those. It's a good thing I'm good at dancing too. Then Susie Sheep gets up. I'm going to dance, she says. Oh no, says Peppa. What's the matter? Asks Madame Gazelle. I don't have a special talent that hasn't been done already, says Peppa. Of course you do, says Madame Gazelle. Think of something you really like to do. Peppa is quiet. She thinks. Then she smiles. I know, she says. She grabs her boots. Follow me. I'm the best at jumping in muddy puddles. Peppa jumps in a muddy puddle. Then everyone jumps in muddy puddles. This has been a very good day at school, says Peppa. And it has. The end. Peppa Pig, Fun in the Sun. Peppa Pig has fun. She has fun in the sun. She has fun when she jumps. Jump, jump, jump. She has fun when she hunts. Hunt, hunt, hunt. She has fun when she tugs. Tug, tug, tug. She has fun when she runs. Run, run, run.
Wow.
She has fun in the mud. Mud, mud, mud. Peppa had fun in the mud. Now she must have fun in the tub. Scrub, scrub, scrub. The end. Peppa Pig Bicycle Race. It is a lovely sunny day. Peppa and George are going out for a ride. Peppa rings her bell. Ding, ding. Come on, George, she says. Follow me. Peppa is riding her bicycle. George is riding his tricycle. Hurry up, George, calls Peppa. You're going so slowly, says George. Peppa sees her friends Danny Dog, Susie Sheep and Rebecca Rabbit. They are riding their bicycles too. Danny points down the hill. Let's have a race to the bottom, he says. Danny, Susie and Rebecca ride very fast. Peppa rides quite fast. George does not ride very fast at all. Georgie's riding a baby bike, snorts Peppa. So are you, says Danny. You've still got stabilisers. Peppa looks down at her bike. It is the only one with stabilisers on it. Let's ride up the hill again, says Danny. No, says Peppa. I think I'll stay here. Peppa asks Daddy Pig to take her stabilisers off. Do you think you can ride without them? He says. I can do it, Peppa nods. I can. She gets on her bicycle and starts pedalling. Uh-oh, Peppa falls onto the grass. Riding without stabilisers is hard. George giggles. It is not funny. Peppa frowns. Daddy Pig helps Peppa to get back on her bicycle. Let's try again, he says. Ready, steady, go. Don't let go of me, Daddy, says Peppa. Don't worry, says Daddy Pig. I've got you. Peppa pedals faster and faster. You're doing really well, shouts Daddy Pig. Peppa looks round. Daddy Pig has let go. Ho ho, he cries. You're cycling on your own. Peppa can ride on her own without stabilisers.
Wow.
She goes to find her friends. Look at me, shouts Peppa. I can ride my bike properly. Danny, Susie and Rebecca all cheer. Hooray! Come on, says Peppa. Let's race down the hill again. Danny, Susie and Rebecca ring their bells. Peppa loves riding her bicycle. Everyone loves riding bicycles. The end. Peppa Pig, A Trip to the Moon. It is a lovely sunny day, and George and his friend Edmund are playing with their space toys in the garden. Oh dear, Edmund's space toy has landed on Peppa's head. She is not happy. Are you going to the moon, boys? Says Daddy Pig. No, says George. It's just boring space stuff for babies, Daddy, says Peppa. It's not real. Space is real, Peppa, replies Daddy Pig. Mummy Pig tells everyone there is a show at the museum that is all about the moon.
Wow.
That sounds fun. Shall we go and see it? Asks Daddy Pig.
Hooray!
George and Edmund laugh. They want to see the show. At the museum, they all buy tickets. Are we really going to the moon? Peppa asks. No, Peppa, it's just pretend, Miss Rabbit tells her. Mr. Rabbit is a tour guide. This way for our trip to the moon, he calls, leading them inside. Prepare for takeoff. When they are all seated in the rocket, a voice booms, Blast off! We live on a planet. Does anyone know what it's called? Mr. Rabbit asks. Earth, Daddy Pig guesses. That's right, Mr. Rabbit smiles. And what is the moon made of? Mr. Rabbit wants to know next. The moon is made of cheese, of course, Daddy Pig jokes. But Mr. Rabbit doesn't find it very funny. No, the moon is made of rock. This is a serious tour, so no jokes, please. It is pretend, though, isn't it? Peppa asks. Yes, Peppa. If it was the real moon, you could jump over my head, Mr. Rabbit tells her.
Gravity is what keeps us on the ground, and it is weaker on the moon, so you can jump higher.
Wow.
Some big rubber bands drop down and Mr. Rabbit straps everyone in. Peppa and the others feel like they are jumping on the moon. It is so much fun. Miss Rabbit tells them to say, "Moon cheese," as she takes a picture. It is the end of the tour, so Miss Rabbit takes everyone to the moon shop. "How about some real moon cheese?" says Miss Rabbit. "How much is it?" asks Daddy Pig. £5, please," says Miss Rabbit. £5? snorts Daddy Pig. "It's all for a good cause," says Miss Rabbit. "I like the moon now because it is very interesting," says Peppa, holding a picture of everybody bouncing on the moon. "And very tasty," laughs Daddy Pig, eating his yummy moon cheese. The end.
Peppa Pig and the library visit. It's bedtime for Peppa and George.
"Could we have a story, please?"
asked Peppa. "Okay," says Mummy Pig. "Here's the one about the red monkey."
"We always read that one,"
says Peppa.
"The red monkey takes a bath, brushes his teeth, and he goes to sleep. Let's choose another book instead."
Peppa goes to the bookshelf. There's a book about a blue tiger. A book about a green spider. A book about an orange penguin.
Wow.
And... "Ugh," says Peppa.
"What's this one?"
"The Wonderful World of Concrete," reads Mummy Pig. "I've been looking for that," says Daddy Pig. "It's a book I borrowed from the library."
"What's a library?"
asked Peppa. A library is a place where you can go to borrow books. When you're finished reading them, you take them back so others can borrow them, says Daddy Pig. He looks at the book. "I have had this for rather a long time," Daddy Pig says. "You can return it tomorrow," says Mummy Pig. "But right now it's bedtime."
"After Daddy reads the story,"
Peppa insists. Daddy Pig begins to read. The Wonderful World of Concrete. Concrete is made of sand, water, and other things. Chapter 1. Sand. Sounds of snoring fill the room. Peppa and George are fast asleep. So is Mummy Pig. The next morning, Peppa and her family head to the library. Peppa can't believe how many books are on the shelves.
"Look at them all,"
she shouts. "Shh, Peppa," says Daddy Pig. "You must be quiet in the library, because people come here to read and to be quiet."
"Next, please,"
comes another shout. It's Miss Rabbit, the librarian.
"Hello, Mummy Pig,"
she says.
"Are you returning these books?"
"Yes, Miss Rabbit." Mummy Pig gives her books to Miss Rabbit to scan, and the computer beeps as the books slide across the counter.
"Why is that computer beeping?"
asked Peppa. "It's checking to see that you haven't been naughty and kept the book for too long." "I may have kept this book for a bit too long," says Daddy Pig. Don't worry, says Miss Rabbit. Then her computer makes a loud, long beep. Daddy Pig, she shouts. You've had this book out for 10 years. Naughty Daddy, says Peppa. Now that Daddy Pig's book is returned, he can borrow another one. Peppa and George want to borrow books too. Miss Rabbit shows Peppa and George to the children's section.
Wow.
Ugh, says Peppa.
There are books about princesses and animals and planets.
Danny Dog and Susie Sheep are at the library too. Danny Dog is borrowing a book about soccer. Susie Sheep is borrowing one about doctors. George has chosen his book. It's about dinosaurs.
Dinosaur,
Says George. Daddy Pig has found an exciting new book. Further Adventures in the World of Concrete.
but Daddy Pig,
Says Peppa.
I want a fun bedtime book.
Mummy Pig pulls out a red monkey book.
Not that again.
Says Peppa.
It's boring.
It's a different story, says Mummy Pig. Once upon a time, there was a red monkey.
I know.
Says Peppa.
He had a bath, brushed his teeth, and went to sleep.
She says. No, says Mummy Pig. He had adventures. Oh, say the children. They all gather around to see the book. Peppa wants to hear the story. We can read it at home, says Mummy Pig.
But I already chose a book about a princess.
Says Peppa. Then she sees another book about birds.
That book looks interesting too.
Miss Rabbit has good news for Peppa.
You can take up to 3 books home if you'd like.
Hooray!
Yippee,
Says Peppa.
You just have to remember to bring them back on time.
Says Miss Rabbit.
And that goes for you too, Daddy Pig.
Peppa laughs.
I'll make sure he remembers. I want to come back to the library all the time. I love the library.
Back at home, it's bedtime. Mummy Pig opens the new red monkey book. Once upon a time, there was a red monkey. He jumped in a space rocket and went to the moon.
The moon!
Says Peppa.
What an adventure!
Mummy Pig turns the page. He had a picnic with a dinosaur,
Dinosaur!
says George. Then the red monkey swam under the sea. Mummy Pig turns the last page. Finally, he climbed the highest mountain. That was a busy day.
I think Daddy Pig agrees,
Says Peppa. Everyone looks. Daddy Pig is fast asleep. The end, whispers Mummy Pig. Sounds of Daddy Pig's snores fill the room. Everyone laughs. What a fun day. The end. Peppa loves. Peppa loves her best friend, Susie Sheep.
I wish my tail was soft and fluffy like yours,
Says Peppa.
I like your tail, Peppa.
Giggles Susie.
It's cute and curly.
Peppa loves dressing up.
Look at me.
Cries Peppa.
I'm a dancing fairy princess. Oh, your wings are really shimmery and shiny,
Says Nurse Susie. Peppa loves her golden boots. If you jump in muddy puddles, you must wear your boots, laughed Daddy Pig.
My golden boots sparkle and glitter, says Peppa proudly. I'm going to make the biggest splash ever.
Peppa loves bath time.
Quack, quack, cries Peppa. Little duck, your wings are so smooth and bright. Quack, quack,
Giggles George.
splash.
Bonk, bonk.
Peppa loves her teddy. Time to go to sleep, Peppa and George, whispers Mummy Pig.
Good night, Teddy, sighs Peppa. You're so cuddly and furry. Night, night.
The end. Peppa Pig, best friends. Once upon a time, Peppa's best friend, Susie Sheep, came to play.
I have something to show you,
said Susie. Susie held up a photograph of a baby sheep.
Look, it's me,
said Susie.
You're not a baby, Susie,
said Peppa, shaking her head.
This is an old photo,
Susie explained.
It was taken when I was a baby.
Peppa snorted. She didn't remember Susie being a baby. That was just silly. Susie pointed at Peppa.
In the olden days, you were a baby too,
she said.
I don't remember being a baby,
says Peppa.
But you were,
insisted Susie.
Ask your mummy.
Peppa and Susie raced inside. Mummy Pig was working on the computer.
Mummy,
cried Peppa.
Susie is making up stories. No, I'm not,
Susie said. Peppa told Mummy Pig about Susie's silly idea.
I don't remember being a baby,
Peppa insisted.
But you were a baby,
Peppa, said Mummy Pig. Mummy Pig pulled up a picture of a baby pig on the computer. Who do you think this is, Peppa? She asked. Peppa thought that the baby looked like her cousin, Baby Alexander.
Is it Baby Alexander?
She asked.
No,
replied Mummy Pig.
That's you as a baby, Peppa.
Wow.
Peppa was surprised. She had been a baby. Peppa and Susie giggled. Baby Peppa looked very cute. George and Daddy Pig came in to see what all the fuss was about.
Look, Daddy,
said Peppa.
That's me as a baby.
I remember it, said Daddy Pig. That photo was taken on our first day in this house.
What do you mean?
asked Peppa. Daddy Pig told Peppa, Susie and George that they had moved into their house when Peppa was very little. We brought all our things on top of our car, he said. Mummy Pig put up some pictures, said Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig put up a shelf, said Mummy Pig. And Grandpa made us a lovely flower garden. Peppa and Susie went outside. There was no flower garden at this house.
Why don't we have a flower garden now?
Peppa asked. We used to, but Daddy Pig looked after it, Mummy Pig sighed. Said Daddy Pig, embarrassed. We had the wrong kind of soil for flowers.
Was Susie my friend in the olden days?
asked Peppa. Daddy Pig nodded. Of course, he said. You and Susie have always been best friends. Peppa wondered what game she played with Susie when they were little.
Did we jump up and down in muddy puddles?
She asked.
No, Mummy Pig laughed. You were babies. You couldn't even walk yet.
What did we do when we were babies?
Asked Susie. You cried. You burped. And you laughed, said Mummy Pig. Susie and Peppa giggled. It must have been so silly being babies.
Baby Peppa. Baby Susie.
And then you grew into toddlers, continued Mummy Pig. And you played together all the time.
But where was George?
Peppa asked. He was a baby in my tummy, said Mummy Pig. Peppa thought for a moment. Daddy Pig's tummy was even bigger than Mummy's.
Is there a baby in there?
She asked. No, Peppa, chuckled Daddy Pig. This tummy is pure muscle. Soon George was born, Mummy Pig said, and Granny and Grandpa Pig bought him a very special present. Can you guess what it was, Peppa? Peppa knew just what present it had been.
Mr. Dinosaur,
she cried.
Grr, grr, grr.
Daddy Pig said that little Peppa and Susie liked to do everything together. They liked to jump, dance, and run around all over the place. Then one day, said Mummy Pig, you saw something amazing. A muddy puddle. You love jumping up and down in muddy puddles together, said Mummy Pig.
I still love muddy puddles,
cried Peppa.
Me too,
cried Susie. Peppa, George and Susie looked for the biggest muddy puddle they could find and jumped right in. Daddy Pig brought his camera. Let's take a photo of you, Susie and George now, Peppa, he said.
Yes, exclaimed Peppa, because Susie and I were best friends in the olden days and we're still best friends now.
Little or big, Peppa and Susie will always be best friends, and they will always love jumping up and down in muddy puddles. The end.
Peppa Pig. Merry Christmas, Peppa. It is Christmas Day. Peppa and her family are opening their presents. Peppa unwraps a toy car. George unwraps a toy aeroplane. Hooray! They cheer. Vroom! Daddy Pig reminds them to be careful when playing. But Peppa is too excited. She trips and bumps her arm. Ow! Peppa says she is very hurt. Thankfully, Mummy Pig knows just who to call. Dr. Brown Bear. Dr. Brown Bear is sitting at his desk. A bumped arm, you say? And on Christmas Day? I'll be right there, Dr. Brown Bear says. Dr. Brown Bear arrives at Peppa's house. Can you wiggle your fingers? He asks Peppa. Peppa can. That's very good, Dr. Brown Bear says. But just to be safe, we'll take a trip to the hospital. At the hospital, Dr. Brown Bear takes Peppa to see Miss Rabbit. Miss Rabbit is the nurse. Peppa looks around. She sees lots of Christmas decorations.
Ooh, Miss Rabbit, the hospital is all Christmassy,
Peppa says. Yes, Miss Rabbit replies.
Looks lovely, doesn't it?
Miss Rabbit takes a picture of Peppa's arm with the X-ray. An X-ray shows her the bones inside Peppa's body.
The X-ray shows your arm will be fine,
Miss Rabbit announces.
and for being brave, you get a sticker.
Hooray! Peppa cheers. Peppa loves stickers. Peppa walks out of Miss Rabbit's office. She sees a bed with Pedro Pony in it. Pedro Pony has bumped his leg. He has a sticker too, but Pedro looks sad.
I'm sad because Father Christmas hasn't come,
Says Pedro Pony. Peppa is alarmed. That means Pedro hasn't gotten a Christmas present. Then Peppa and Pedro hear a voice in the hallway. Ho, 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 the voice says. It's Father Christmas. I'm here with Pedro's Christmas present, Father Christmas says.
Thank you, Father Christmas,
Pedro says.
I wonder what it is.
He unwraps the present. It is a toy boat. Pedro loves his present. Sorry I'm a bit late. I got stuck in a chimney, Father Christmas laughs. Thank you, Miss Rabbit, for looking after everyone at Christmas time. Peppa loves Christmas, even if it's at the hospital. Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho. The end. Peppa Pig and the Lost Christmas List. It is almost Christmas, and Peppa Pig and her little brother George are mailing their letters to Santa. Peppa's friends are there too.
What are you asking for?
Asks Peppa.
I'd like a scooter.
Says Susie.
I've asked Santa for a toy spaceship.
Says Danny.
A toy mouse for me, please.
Says Emily. Rebecca wants a trumpet. Zoe has asked Santa for a ball and paddle toy. And Candy is hoping for a jump rope. Pedro would like a guitar. The next day, Mammy and Daddy Pig, Peppa and George go to Miss Rabbit's farm to find the perfect Christmas tree. They look at little ones. Bigger, says Daddy Pig. They look at medium-sized ones. Bigger, says Daddy Pig. They look at the biggest tree at the farm. Perfect, says Daddy Pig. The tree is very big. Daddy Pig's car is quite small. No worries, I'll carry it home, he says. Peppa, George and Mummy Pig wait a very long time for Daddy Pig. Finally they see him coming slowly up the hill. Daddy Pig needs a rest. It's time to decorate. Mummy Pig puts the lights on first. Peppa adds the garland. George hangs some Christmas ornaments. Then Daddy Pig reaches way up high to put a star on the top.
The tree is beautiful.
Peppa sings a Christmas tree song.
Little star on the Christmas tree, twinkle, 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 twinkle. All the little piggies on Christmas Eve go oink, 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 oink.
Daddy, asked Peppa,
why does Santa come down the chimney? Why doesn't he just use the front door?
Good question, Peppa. If you see him, you should ask, But Santa won't come unless you're asleep, so up to bed you go.
George, let's stay awake all night and see Santa,
Peppa says. But George is fast asleep.
Well, I'm going to stay awake by myself.
Soon, Peppa is fast asleep too. Ho, 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 ho. It's windy up here. Santa checks his list and then squeezes down the chimney. It's a tight fit. Santa is surprised to see two little pigs.
It's me, Peppa. This is my little brother, George.
I am very pleased to meet you, says Santa.
Are those our presents?
Asks Peppa. They might be, but you'll have to wait until morning to find out.
Santa, how do you know what presents to give everyone?
Asked Peppa. Well, I have a list. It's right here. Oh, it was right here. Oh dear, what has happened to my list? I've lost it. How will I know who gets which presents?
I can help,
Says Peppa.
Danny wants a toy spaceship. Emily wants a toy mouse. A scooter, please, for Susie. Rebecca would like a trumpet. Candy wants a jump rope. Zoe asked for a ball and paddle toy. And Pedro would like a guitar.
Thank you, Peppa Pig, says Santa. You remembered everything on the lost Christmas list. You've saved the day. I must hurry now. Santa looks up the chimney. I guess I'll have to squeeze up there again.
Why don't you use the front door?
Asked Peppa. By golly, what a good idea. On Christmas morning, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig wake Peppa and George.
Daddy, Mummy, we saw Santa.
Says Peppa.
And look, he left us presents.
George has a toy train. Peppa has a yo-yo. Peppa's friends arrive. They got presents they asked for too. Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho! The end. Peppa Pig. Peppa loves Christmas. Peppa, George, Mommy and Daddy Pig are getting ready for Christmas.
I love decorating Christmas trees,
Cries Peppa. Peppa and Mummy Pig wrap up Christmas presents. Peppa uses lots of paper and ribbons,
I love wrapping Christmas presents.
says Peppa. Peppa and George help Granny Pig make their Christmas pudding. They stir the sticky mixture round and round.
I love cooking.
Cries Peppa. At bedtime, Peppa and George leave out their stockings and a snack for Santa and his reindeer.
I love Christmas Eve.
Whispers Peppa. On Christmas Day, Peppa and her family have a great big Christmas dinner.
I love everything about Christmas,
Cries Peppa.
especially Christmas pudding.
The end. Peppa Pig. Peppa meets Father Christmas. It was almost Christmas. Peppa was wrapped up in her warm winter clothes and on her way to playgroup.
I can't wait for Christmas Day,
cried Peppa as she and George jumped up and down in the snow. Has everyone got their costumes for the Christmas play? Asked Madame Gazelle once everyone had arrived. Peppa and her friends all had parts to practice for the play.
Ho, ho, ho,
barked Danny Dog. Danny was Father Christmas.
I'm the Christmas fairy,
said Peppa, dancing around proudly.
I'm the Christmas nurse, said Susie, in case anybody gets ill.
The next day, Peppa, George, Mammy and Daddy Pig went to the supermarket to do some Christmas shopping.
Daddy, look,
whispered Peppa, pointing.
It's Father Christmas.
Why don't you go over and say hello? Said Daddy Pig.
Hello, Father Christmas,
said Peppa shyly.
It's me, Peppa.
Hello, Peppa, Father Christmas replied. Are you looking forward to Christmas?
Oh, yes, said Peppa. We're doing a Christmas play at playgroup. I'm the Christmas fairy and Danny is you.
How lovely, said Father Christmas.
I should be Father Christmas really,
said Peppa.
But Danny is good at ho-ho-hoing.
Ho, 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 laughed Father Christmas.
Will you come and see our play?
asked Peppa.
Please.
I am rather busy, Father Christmas replied, but I will do my best. At playgroup the next day, Peppa and her friends put up the Christmas tree.
I saw Father Christmas at the supermarket,
cried Peppa.
He's coming to see our play. I saw him at the garden centre and he didn't tell me that,
said Rebecca Rabbit.
I saw Father Christmas in the shopping centre,
said Molly Mole.
How can he be in so many places? Father Christmas moves very quickly, said Danny Dog. He gives presents to children all around the world in just one night. On his magic sleigh,
added Zoe Zebra, putting the last decoration on the tree. The next morning, Peppa saw Father Christmas at the Christmas tree shop.
Hello again, Father Christmas,
cried Peppa.
Are you still coming to our play?
Play? asked Father Christmas.
Our Christmas play, said Peppa. You haven't forgotten.
Oh, yes, of course. I will do my best to come, replied Father Christmas. The day of the Christmas play arrived.
We can't start yet,
whispered Peppa.
Father Christmas isn't here.
But your parents are waiting, whispered Madame Gazelle. The show must go on. The snowflakes started the play with a song.
Snow, snow, it's what we like. Snow by day and snow by night. And when it falls, it turns things white. Snow, snow, snow. I am the Christmas fairy,
said Peppa, jumping on stage.
And I am Father Christmas,
said Danny Dog, joining her.
Ha ha ha! Woof!
Ho ho ho! Wonderful, said a voice. It sounded just like
Father Christmas!
gasped the children.
You're here! You came to see our play after all,
cried Peppa. Of course I did, Peppa, said Father Christmas. It's very good.
Do you really go all around the world in one night?
Asked Wendy Wolf. Yes, replied Father Christmas, with my magic sleigh and reindeer.
Please, can we see your sleigh?
Asked Pedro Pony. I'm sure Father Christmas is a bit too busy to show us his sleigh, said Madame Gazelle. It's true, I am very busy, but of course you can see my sleigh, said Father Christmas. Come outside, everyone. Father Christmas led the children, their families, and Madame Gazelle outside. Wow! Everyone gasped, seeing his golden sleigh sparkling in the snow.
It's beautiful, cried Peppa. What is it like to ride in?
Hop in and I'll show you, replied Father Christmas. Woo! Cried the children as Father Christmas flew them across the sky. Ho 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 ho! Laughed Father Christmas. Happy Christmas, everyone! Ho ho ho!
This is the best Christmas ever,
cheered Peppa.
Thank you, Father Christmas.
Merry Christmas! Ho 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 ho! The end. Peppa's Christmas Post. It was nearly Christmas Eve, and Peppa and George were feeling very Christmassy.
Let's post our letters to Santa,
said Peppa.
Yippee!
Cheered George. Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig put on their boots and headed out into the snow to the post box. On the way home from the post box, Daddy Pig did his Christmas dance. Oh, it's a bit slippery, he cried, falling on his bottom with a bump. Oh, Daddy Pig, said Mummy, holding out her hand to help him up, but then she slipped over too. Mummy and Daddy Pig were covered in snow. Dr. Brown Bear came to see if they were okay. You're going to be fine, he said, but you both had a bit of a bump, so you must rest until Christmas Day. Oh no, sighed Daddy Pig. Everybody went to stay at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house so Mummy and Daddy could stay in bed.
I know how we can cheer up Mummy and Daddy,
Peppa whispered to George.
Let's get everything ready for Christmas ourselves.
So with a little help from Granny and Grandpa Pig, Peppa and George started making Christmas cards and advent calendars for everyone they knew. After Peppa and George posted everything they had made, it was time to make the Christmas pudding.
Mummy and Daddy will love this,
said Peppa, stirring the sticky mixture.
That looks perfect, little ones,
said Granny Pig.
Let's steam it, and then I have something to show you.
Granny Pig found an envelope in a drawer and passed it to Peppa and George.
Take a look inside,
she said.
Ooh, said Peppa. Thank you, Granny.
Inside the envelope was a little book of festive treats. Peppa and George made all of the recipes inside it and a lot of mess. Something smells delicious, said Grandpa Pig, his tummy rumbling. They're not for now, Grandpa, explained Peppa. They're for Christmas Day. I see, replied Grandpa Pig. Well then, I can't wait for Christmas Day. What's in that great big box, Grandpa? Asked Peppa. Christmas decorations, said Grandpa Pig. Hooray! Let's decorate the Christmas tree, cheered Peppa. Peppa and George covered the whole house with Grandpa Pig's decorations. Mummy and Daddy are going to be very surprised when they come downstairs on Christmas Day, said Peppa. Then she and George sat down with Granny Pig. They wanted to write an extra special letter to Santa. Peppa, George, Granny and Grandpa Pig put on their boots and headed out into the snow to post their special letter. I hope Santa gets it in time, said Peppa, lifting George up so he could post the letter. I am sure he will, Peppa, said Grandpa Pig. Come on, let's head back home. That night, at the North Pole, Santa Claus received Peppa and George's special letter. Ho, 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 he laughed. Christmas stickers, how lovely. Then he got out his pen and paper and wrote an extra special reply. The next morning was Christmas Eve, and there was a letter waiting for Peppa and George by the front door. Someone's written us a letter, George, said Peppa, jumping up and down. Santa, cheered George. Don't be silly, George, replied Peppa. Santa doesn't write letters. He's too busy making toys. Dear Peppa and George Pig, thank you so much for your letter and wonderful present. I have put your Christmas stickers all over my grotto. Of course I can deliver presents for your mummy and daddy. Make sure you go to bed nice and early on Christmas Eve, and there will be an extra special surprise for you both on Christmas Day. Love from Santa Claus. At bedtime on Christmas Eve, Peppa and George were soon tucked up in their little bed at Granny and Grandpa's house. We have to go to sleep early, like Santa said in his letter, whispered Peppa. I wonder what his surprise will be. Santa, whispered George as he closed his eyes. Soon they were both fast asleep. Mommy, Daddy! Cheers Peppa and George very early the next morning. It's Christmas Day! What? Mumbled Daddy Pig, waking up. It's Christmas Day! Repeated Peppa. Dr. Brown Bear said you can get out of bed now. We have lots of surprises for you. But there was a surprise waiting for everyone in the living room. Santa! cried Peppa and George. Santa! cried Daddy Pig, doing his special Christmas dance very carefully, this time, and managing not to fall over. Surprise, said Santa. I thought I'd pop in and see two little piggies who have been very helpful this Christmas. Hooray! Cheered Peppa and George. Santa gave presents to Mummy and Daddy Pig and to Granny and Grandpa Pig. Then he turned to Peppa and George and gave them the doll and the racing car they had asked for. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! He chuckled as he waved goodbye. Now remember to write your thank you letters. I love getting post. That night, Peppa and George were back at home and tucked up in their own beds.
I love getting post too, Santa,
whispered Peppa, looking at his letter on her bedroom wall.
especially from you.
The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Christmas Wish. It is Christmas Eve, and Peppa, George and their friends are aboard the Christmas elf train. They are on their way to Santa's grotto. Everyone is very excited. Ho, 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 chuckles Santa. I hope you've all been good. He makes a list of what everyone would like for Christmas. George would like a racing car. Peppa would like a doll. Peppa and her family are spending Christmas with Granny and Grandpa Pig. Granny Pig has an important job for them. You can stir the Christmas pudding and don't forget to make a wish. It is great fun. Soon it is bedtime.
I hope Santa knows where Granny and Grandpa live,
whispers Peppa before she falls asleep. Of course, smiles Mummy Pig. He's been here lots of times before. It is lunchtime on Christmas Day. This Christmas pudding is delicious, snorts Mummy Pig. I wonder what you've wished for when you were stirring it, Peppa. It is time to open the presents. George has got a racing car. But there's nothing under the tree for Peppa,
Santa has forgotten me,
says Peppa sadly. Santa is on his way home in his sleigh when he spots something at the bottom of his sack. Oh, gasps Santa. There is one last present that he hasn't delivered yet. Here's your present, Peppa, chuckles Santa, tumbling down the chimney. Peppa is very happy.
my Christmas pudding wish has come true,
She giggles.
I wish that Santa would visit us on Christmas Day, and he has.
Hooray for Santa! Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas! The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Christmas. It is Christmas Eve. Peppa, George and their friends are posting letters to Father Christmas.
I can't wait to see what Father Christmas brings us all,
cries Peppa. Everyone is very excited. That afternoon, Daddy Pig buys the biggest Christmas tree he can find.
Daddy, it won't fit in the car,
Giggles Peppa. I'll just have to carry it home, grunts Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig carries the Christmas tree up and down the hill all the way home. The tree is heavy and it takes him a long time. Poor Daddy Pig, he is worn out. Daddy Pig finally makes it home. Let's decorate the tree, says Mummy Pig. Daddy Pig puts a shiny star at the very top. Ooh! Everyone gasps. The tree looks beautiful. Peppa and George leave a snack for Father Christmas by the fireplace. Time for bed now, smiles Daddy. Father Christmas won't come unless you are asleep. Peppa and George are tucked up in bed when they hear a loud thump. It's Father Christmas. He can't get down the chimney, so he goes down to the front door. Peppa and George race downstairs giggling. Hello, Peppa and George, cries Father Christmas. Merry Christmas. Now off to bed so I can deliver your presents. Hooray! It's Christmas morning. George gets a toy train and Peppa gets a yo-yo. But Peppa and George's favourite present was definitely meeting Father Christmas. This is the best Christmas ever! Cheers, Peppa. The end. Peppa Pig. Peppa's Night Before Christmas. "'Twas the night before Christmas, and Peppa couldn't sleep. She crept out of bed, said, "I'll just take a peep." Then she went to her window. Could Santa be heard? She listened with care. "Oh, it's only a bird." She went back to her bed and saw George was awake. "Look outside," she pointed. "Magical snowflakes." George gazed at the snow. "Santa," he called out. "Not yet, George," said Peppa, "but let's look about." Then suddenly, bang! What could that have been? Had Santa crash landed, or was it a dream? Then more noises followed, like ouch, eek, and yelp. "Come quickly," called Santa. "Oh, please, I need help." "Help." "My sleigh lights are broken. I can't see a thing. I must give out presents. It's awful timing." "Oh, Santa," said Peppa, "what will light your sleigh? Might this magical unicorn help you find your way?" "She's perfect," said Santa. "Her horn will shine bright. She'll be back by morning before it gets light." He sprinkled the magic. "And go," Santa said. "Now, Peppa and George, you must soon go to bed." As they waved him goodbye, they heard Santa shout, "Happy Christmas to you! Thanks for helping me out!" "Oh, George, how amazing! But our secret don't tell." After such an adventure, they slept very well. On Christmas Day morning, all were excited. The gifts were delivered, and the kids were delighted. As they opened their presents, "Peppa," Daddy Pig said, "who's that with your unicorn there by the shed?" Peppa winked at George in the twinkling light. They'd never forget their most magical night. The end. First words with Peppa Pig. Dens. Peppa's many friends came to play in her treehouse. The treehouse is yellow and its door is green.
Grandpa Pig made the treehouse for us. It is the best,
said Peppa. Peppa made tea for her 5 friends in the treehouse.
Don't forget me,
said Zoe Zebra.
Don't be sad. I have made you some tea in the green cup,
said Peppa. Danny Dog and Pedro Pony came to call at the treehouse.
Is there room for us in your treehouse?
said Danny Dog.
I don't think you will fit. There are 5 friends in here. There are too many friends in here,
said Peppa. Grandpa Pig made a den for Danny and Pedro.
I like its flag. It is the best,
said Pedro Pony.
If you pull this bit, its red door goes up and down,
said Grandpa Pig.
It has so many good bits. It is the best,
said Danny Dog.
Thank you.
Peppa and her friends came to call at the den. Its red door was pulled down.
Wow.
Is there room for us in the den?
said Peppa.
I don't think you will fit. There are too many friends in here,
said Danny. Grandpa Pig got some string.
If you pull the string from the treehouse to the den, you can call your friends,
said Grandpa Pig. The friends pulled the string.
The treehouse Grandpa Pig made for us is the best. Its door is green,
called Susie Sheep.
The den that Grandpa Pig made for us is the best. Its door goes up and down if you pull it,
called Danny Dog. Peppa's 5 friends went to the den.
The den is the best as the door goes up and down,
they said.
I don't think so. I still think the treehouse is the best. Its door is green,
said Peppa. Then the rain came. The den did not have a roof. Many of the friends went back to the treehouse.
The treehouse is the best as its roof will keep the rain off,
they said.
I don't think so. I still think the den is the best,
said Danny Dog. Then the sun came back. The rain had made 5 spots of mud on the green grass.
Now we don't want to go in the den or the treehouse,
said Susie Sheep.
The mud is best for us.
The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.